Hey guys, welcome to Coffee with MBA and Beyond. I'm Sakshi, your host for the night. I'm from the value creation team at MBA and Beyond. And with me, we have our two wonderful speakers, Shantanu and Anjali. We'll start the session in the next 5 minutes while people are still joining. We can wait till 9:04. I hope that works, Shantanu.
I think, Shakshi, let's get started.
Okay.
We were joined in time, right?
Great, yeah. Okay, Shantanu, we can start with your introduction and I'll let you start.
Right. Hello, everyone. First of all, welcome, to this session. I hope you guys had a good session of TikTok, And yeah, I'm Shantanu. I'm an INSEAD alum 2017 December batch. And we at MBA and Beyond actually have been helping applicants, across, different BSchools. Our forte actually has been top 20. We also help, top 50 now. Apart from work, I like to, mix music, play chess, and do a little more, bunch of things. So that's pretty much about me. And then over to you.
Sure, yeah. So hey everyone, glad to see so many folks out here. A quick background about me, I have roughly 7 years of work at, mostly in the technology space. I've worked across different sectors like core technology, retail, e-commerce, and my previous stint was in Goldman Sachs as a vice president. I'm currently actually going to join HEC Paris as part of the MBA cohort. So I'm just going to be this is the last couple of weeks in India before I start my program. And yeah, excited to contribute and help you guys out.
Great. Thanks for the intro session, guys. So I'll just start the session. Before that, I'll just explain you guys how the session will kind of work. In the first 20 to 25 minutes, we will be taking the questions that we have received already. And in the next 20 to 25 minutes, we can take on the questions that you guys can upload in the chat box. So we can start the session with the first question that we have. And that is that are there specific industries or roles where an MBA offers better financial ROI compared to others? Maybe Indra, you can start the answer and then Shantanu, you can add on.
Sure. So I think in terms of industries, the most common industry that MBA grads they pivot to is consulting, and rightly so because it pays the most highest amount of salaries out there. But yeah, the non-sugar-coated answer is that of course the work-life balance, and I mean it's one of the most rigorous exit opportunities out there. So definitely yes, consulting and finance, they are the strongest and the highest ROI-based offers that are out there. Other than that, then definitely the technology roles like the product manager roles across FANG and the top startups that's out there. So in terms of, let's say, if I need to rank it out there in terms of just financial ROI, I would say consulting and finance, they are right out there, and then probably technology and startup based roles. But yeah, I mean, Shantanu, feel free to add.
I totally agree with you. Financially, definitely, it's the consulting, or you get into PVC, IB, But I think ROI, after 7 years of MBA, after 7 years of MBA, I think to me the return is also about, do you have a life, and that is something which I like, everyone has a very subjective opinion over here, right? So everyone values things differently. I respect, first of all, personally, all opinions, But from the perspective that I want to say is that I have to see financially, definitely, the industries that I've told you about already. But if you feel that, you need to have an evening, or at least a couple of evenings in a week, or 3 evenings in a week, right? If you also consider that as a return, then I feel there are other industries, especially tech, sorry guys, I just like someone is calling me frantically. But yeah, so I mean, there's other industry. I mean, the tech industry these days, they're actually taking care of your work-life balance. Obviously, the salary is going to be lesser than what you're going to be earning in consulting and other stuff. But I think eventually it's also about the money that you're earning divided by the number of hours you're working, right? So yeah, this is what my take.
Thanks, guys. I think there was a very interesting answer from both of you. We have the next question, that is, how does location determine ROI and post-MBA opportunities in various industries? Maybe Shantanu, you can start and then Indra, you can add on.
For consulting, it just doesn't matter, because when you are applying to consulting firms, they don't come over for you to to get you in a specific office. They ask you what's your preference, of office. And then you put in your preference over there. My number one preference is, let's say, generally people select Chicago, New York, London, the major preference which people put. So yeah, I mean, for MBBs, for top-notch firms, it just doesn't matter. But let's say if you want to get into a PVC, right? I mean, it's a very close-knit community. Probably the revenue per person is going to be in like hundreds of millions, so they don't just hire you like, it's a test, there's an interview, you gave that and then someone hired you after MBA. No, they, you probably have to go through the route of internship, and then just for that one particular role, there are people from INSEAD, London Business School, Harvard, Wharton, there's a bunch of guys fighting for that one role, and you're working as interns. So that is where the physical location matters more. Also, let's say if you guys feel that, I want to be in Europe, or I want to be in Singapore, or I want to be in New York, being physically present over there, you can network more, speak with people. Eventually it's about funnel, right? You network with 100 people, probably 50 are going to refer you, and then 20 you're going to get the first job interview, and then go down and then crack something. So obviously physical location matters over there, but yeah, can depend from industry to industry. But all the top MNCs, it just doesn't matter much. For example, Amazon, right? It doesn't matter wherever you are, Amazon's everywhere, so they are actually gonna hire you. But yeah, their office also depends. Like if you're in US, they're gonna hire you for the US office. If you're in Singapore or in Europe, let's say for European business schools, they're gonna hire you for the European office. I'm not aware of the Singapore office Amazon hiring, but yeah, I mean this is what I have as of now.
Indra, do you want to add on anything?
Yeah, I can probably add on a couple of more bits. Well, someone is the first Shantanu, but in case of, let's say, if anyone is looking to pivot into, let's say, the fashion industry, or let's say luxury goods, so then definitely like areas like Paris, or like any European city which is very close proximity to, let's say, Paris, for example, right? If anyone wants to enter into the luxury goods, then having easy access to like big brands out there like Chanel or LVMH, right? That definitely adds into the location advantage that you have. So that is, of course, one of the flavors into but these are very niche industries, of course, like as Shantanu mentioned, right? Consulting, it's location agnostic, so to speak. But yeah, for anyone in luxury goods or fashion or FMCG, yeah.
Got it. Thanks, guys. We have the next question, that is, what factors should one consider while deciding whether to gain more experience or apply early for an MBA? Maybe Indra, you can start, and then Shantanu can add on.
All right. So I can probably take a couple of leaves from my MBA journey as well, right? So definitely gaining more work experience versus applying early, right? It's more of a personal decision. You need to actually identify what is your career goal. And do you feel the MBA at that point in time can help you unlock, let's say, the next role or the next leadership avenue that you're looking to, like, let's say, transition? Or if, let's say, you want to completely pivot into a new industry altogether, like let's say someone who's in technology industry and wants to completely pivot to, let's say, a finance-based role. So probably doing an MBA earlier makes sense. That way you can stick around in the newer industry for a more longer period of time. So definitely career goals is something that has to be well thought out. I do understand it's quite difficult because the industry is also shifting quite dynamically, so to speak. But definitely I would say like the number one thing is career goals. And then second would be, it's more like the personal readiness. Like MBA itself, it's not an easy journey, right? I mean, probably Shantanu, you can attest to the fact that INSEAD, it is a 10-month program, right? So it's super, super rigorous. So definitely, are you like even well prepared to, like, let's say, undergo that trigger? That is also something you need to think of. And applying early, of course, there are some advantages as well. But yeah, you'll have to definitely like put in like well amount of thought before you like make the jump. Yeah.
Right. Like Anil mentioned, it's a point in your life when you decide, right? I mean, I understand that generally like people coming from India, it's more about you've done your undergrad, now do MBA, right? But this is not how it is outside India, right? For example, there are a lot of Europeans, if you meet, they ask you like, what are you doing? And like MBA, they're like, what is this? So this is also the case, right? They are not even aware what is MBA, right? So what I mean to say is, when you are ready, so there are people who would feel like, my personal reason of doing an MBA, guys, was pre-MBA. I tried a startup, it failed. I, kind of hit very hard. And then I kind of knew that probably I want to try my hand again, but I need a sense of security, So that's what MBA was for me. So when I came to that point, that's when I realized that I need that security. If you don't have a reason, don't do MBA. Just don't do for the fact that your neighbor did, or Sharmaji's son did. Just don't do for that reason unless until you have a calling. It's a lot of money that you're gonna first of all put in. So yeah, I mean, it's about why now. Like, what is that's stopping you from achieving whatever you dream of? If MBA can unlock that is when you should go for an MBA. Now, even if you have like 3 years of experience, right, but you have reached that point and you can very well explain, it's perfectly, yeah, you should apply. If you have 10 years of experience, you still can explain. There's no point of applying it. So yeah, it's about personal calling.
Got it. Alright, guys, Intel, we have a very interesting question in the chat box for you. I'll just read it out loud. That is, as a VP in Goldman Sachs, what's your rationale about getting an MBA? The reason Saurabh is asking this is because he's pondering about the same, especially considering the grim outlook of job availability.
Understood. Yeah, so definitely this has been one of those questions which I have also thought of, like having been like risen up the ranks in Goldman, right? Why do I need an MBA at this point in time? But definitely one of the drivers for me was to actually pivot out of the technology industry. It's been 7 years in this industry. I have spent given my fair amount of a part of my life in this industry. And this is me sort of making amends of the choices that I made in the past and going towards my true calling, which is in finance. Which was one of the reasons why I also joined Goldman, to actually get to understand the financial aspect. And I'm actually a huge fan of low latency programming or low latency trading platforms out, which is what spurred me to join Goldman. And eventually I understood that, hey, tech is not something for me, it's finance. So this is what actually pivoted me towards doing an MBA and then getting into a more hardcore or a more streamlined finance-based role. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Great. Thanks, Intel. We can take on the next question, that is, how can students from diverse backgrounds leverage their unique perspectives to stand out during recruitment processes? Maybe Shantanu, you can start and then Intel you can run.
Hey, sorry, can you repeat the question again, Shakshi?
Yeah. It's how can students from diverse backgrounds leverage their unique perspectives to stand out during the recruitment process?
Oh, yeah, right. I think this I have even touched upon in the previous webinars. Business school is a marketplace, where the companies come in and they say, I want to buy 4 kgs of product managers, or 10 kgs of consultants, So it's just like you go to a vegetable shop and you say, I need potato, I need tomato, and you would only go to a vegetable shop when they have the entire variety, right? So if you are diverse, you're adding to the variety first of all, right? So the school becomes one-stop place to buy, not buy, but to recruit, people. So your diversity is the reason that they are becoming one-stop solution. It's just like you just need to know, you instead of saying that the glass is half empty, the only thing you got to say is that the glass is half full. And you're like, what I have, they don't have. Like 90% of people don't have. This is what I have, versus I don't have what 90% people have. See, I mean, it's just the way of you thinking, right? I hope I've answered the question, right? That's how you can live.
Yeah. You have Shantanu. Intel, maybe you can add on.
Yeah. So I think definitely, Shantanu, you summarized the paradigm quite well. I'll also add to the fact that having let's say if you're from a very diverse background, right? Don't think of it as something that, hey, what will I do? Because very few applicants are from my background. I mean, that is the trump card that you have that can definitely unlock, let's say, quite a lot of BSchools, because BSchools value diversity. And especially because most of us come from India, right? So we know the usual Indian applicant crop that's out there. So the moment you have an X factor, right, that you can leverage that to sort of unlock a whole new different stream of your exit opportunity. So definitely use that as a trump card that you have in your profile. It could be the minor of the minor things out there, but that's definitely a good thing to have. So definitely, yeah, diverse backgrounds, that's a huge plus. Yeah.
Right. And just to add over here, I am different versus I think I'm different, so, that's pretty much it. The way you look at things, and eventually diversity matters, right? You have advantage over others.
Got it. Good, guys. I have one last question from our bunch of questions, that is, what emerging industries or roles should MBA students explore for long-term career growth? It's a very generic one. Maybe Intel, you can take this one.
Sure. In terms of, I think, the unique exit opportunities that's out there, right? I think sustainability is something that is definitely sort of gaining the ranks in terms of exit opportunity. Like most of the majority of grads, they're also actually exploring roles in green energy, carbon trading. ESG is something which is actually picking up quite a lot of, let's say, interest. There's of course AI and data science that is pretty much prevalent. We are right now in the AI boom with ChatGPT 4.0 and Gemini and all the fancy stuff that's happening in tech. Another thing that is sort of indispensable is healthcare as well. So healthcare is definitely something that, as humans, we will require healthcare, right? And MBA grads can contribute to, it could be operational management in the healthcare space or let's say strategy management in biotech firms. I think there's one more avenue. This is something which I was exploring of late. This is in digital transformation. So what happens in most tech firms is that there is a huge debt of, let's say, legacy tech that has been rolling out in the firm for decades, so to speak. And most of us or most of the firms want to pivot towards the next generation of technology that's out there. So in short, that's sort of a down definition of what digital transformation is. And that is where MBA grads can also help companies navigate through this transformation, navigate to leveraging different productivity tools out there, employee engagement strategies. So yeah, I would probably summarize that. These are the four, I would say, the next gen opportunities that's loading right now.
Right. And Sanjay has talked about it. Right, so I don't want to repeat the same thing, but my question back is like, what are you going to do? Are you going to join the industry? Because it's the industry that is going to grow more, and if you guys are thinking like that, but you're going to find it's going to be very difficult for you to write the essays, because now you're like, what do I write? Because like I can write anything. I have infinite options, right? But yeah, if you have to put in your money, if you're putting on stocks, yeah, try to see which industry is going where. If you have to put yourself, you also need to see what do you like. Everything has a very good long-term prospect if you are really into it. And I personally feel I also come from the humble beginnings, and and yeah, even to me, like if someone would have asked my 21-year-old self, hey, what job do you want to do? Now when I speak with master's candidates, right, when I started speaking, right, I was like, what's your goal? And in the beginning, and then I was like, if someone would have asked me this question when I was 21, I was like, I just need a job. I just need a job, right, at the moment. So, but whatever industry you are in, I think the question is more about, should you continue in your industry or not? Because switching industries, because it's a high growing industry and you don't care about it. The only thing you care about is it's high growing, and you haven't seen if you're going to be connected well with it, then it really doesn't matter what industry is the highest growing, because it's going to change after 5 years. What are you going to do after that, right? Are you going to again switch industries? Right. So look for what makes more sense, to you. And industry at the moment, you just tag AI in it, whatever it is, it's booming, people are picking up investments, right? And indeed, healthcare, COVID kind of showed us, we're not ready for any such thing. So yeah, but guys, just wherever you are, and ask yourself, am I should I do this? And if not, then try to identify more what do I want to do, because this is how we help applicants brainstorm, and then when we put that, people get through. You can also ask yourself that question. I think that this is I would recommend asking yourself rather than just saying which is the high growing and joining it.
Got it, Shantanu. I think that was a very insightful answer, Shantanu and Anthony. We have one next question from Rushabh, that is, how would you differentiate between an ISB and an INSEAD or HEC MBA, especially from a rate of interest and payback consideration? Maybe Shantanu, you can take this one.
Right. See, I've friends from ISB, who are working in Google London. I also have friends from ISB who are still looking for international exposure, right? So, but whereas I don't have any friend at INSEAD who is looking out for international exposure because they have it, So yeah, RGC is also a brilliant school. I'm not gonna say it, but eventually we feel, eventually, MBA is a bit for a year or two, the community matters more. That stays with you throughout. That community is going to help you throughout. Over there, I feel INSEAD is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I have personally taken help, I don't remember how many times, And I think instead of just seeing, even if you see the financial ROI, right, it's extremely high for INSEAD, like 35% people are just going to become consultants, that to tier 1 consultants in tier 1 firms, right? Whereas if you go to other schools, it's not that high. And when you're comparing in terms of, because what we do is we convert INR into euros or any other currency into euros, it looks expensive for sure. It looks expensive. But I think the best way to calculate ROI is you see the average salary divided by the tuition cost. Also, I would say the average salary minus the living expenses that you're gonna have, right? The kind of lifestyle that you expect. Just do a little bit of research. There's a website called MBAROI, and just do a little bit of research of what sort of expenses you will have for a particular lifestyle. You deduct that amount from the average salary and then divide it by the tuition fees. That is going to make more sense, So yeah, but comparing INSEAD, HEC and ISB, INSEAD, just not because I'm from INSEAD. Just not because of that. It is what it is. It's because of that. Yeah. But having said, like I said, I've seen friends from ISB. I have friends from ISB, who could crack Google London. But she's brilliant. She's an outlier, I would say. Also doesn't mean that, like, for example, if Mark Zuckerberg could if was a Harvard dropout, could make Facebook, it doesn't mean that you drop from Harvard, you can every time make Facebook, right? So yeah, I've got to think in the perspective of outliers. Whereas the median, if you take a normal curve, you see what people are doing, majority of the people are doing. I think that is when INSEAD is making more ROI, for sure.
Great. Shantanu, maybe I can ask Indranil to talk about HEC a bit over here.
Yeah, sure. So, even I was also wondering when I was actually in the application phase of, hey, India has one of the best schools at ISB, and it is also a 1-year program, right? So why not? Because anyway, it's similar to a 1 year with both INSEAD and HEC as well, right? But over here, it's not really just monetarily that we're speaking. It's more about the exposure and the experience that you're getting out of an MBA program. And that is something that I feel both INSEAD and HEC. I'm not saying it's going to trump ISB, but it's definitely a league ahead of it. Primarily because of, you'll be sitting not just with Indians in a class, but you'll be sitting with, let's say, a mini globe in your class. You'll have students from multiple nationalities, and business problems across different countries are solved differently, right? So why not get that particular exposure? And the best place to get it is from one of these like mini global schools for there in the world. Same goes with HEC as well, right? It is a pretty diverse cohort, and I think one of the reasons why I also was inclined towards doing an MBA abroad was, of course, there is the ROI, and I would like to also probably give a little bit of insight on the way how I calculate ROI as well. So it is not something that you definitely, let's say, the salary that you get from your first job, right? That's not kind of how I'm thinking of ROI. I'm thinking of it's like an investment that I'm doing as of today, or as of, let's say, this year and the next year. And the ROI is something that I'll get probably 5 years down the line, because an MBA is something that is going to unlock multiple years of future. Probably it's going to fast track, let's say, promotions or let's say growth on your career. So this is how I'm calculating ROI. It's a year-on-year investment that you're doing in a very short span of time. So yeah, this is mostly my thought process, I think, actually, in terms of how I calculate ROI and how I think of my way forward.
I think that's very interesting, getting 2 point of views of how to kind of calculate the ROI, and in 2 different school perspectives as well. We have the next question that is from Hardik, which is, what is a realistic pathway for someone to get into top 15 MBA abroad? Can we take some time to discuss the steps on the journey briefly, right from GMAT to the entrance interview? I think Indranil would be best if you can take this one.
Sure. I think in terms of realistic pathway, of course, acing your standardized test is of utmost importance. It could be GMAT, it could be GRE, either of it. Spending quality time to prepare for the exam, because as and when, we notice each year the number of applicants is increasing. Ergo, the competition is also increasing, and GMAT averages per school is also sort of increasing a bit. So that is where it's also important to invest quite a lot of time in preparation. But once you have a decent GMAT score, shortlisting schools, trying to identify which are the schools that you feel will be able to help you out in your journey. And when I say your journey, it's your potential exit opportunity. And then focusing on the essays and the letter of recommendations. Then, of course, let's say once you get shortlisted, interview preparation is another avenue that you'll have to definitely spend time on. So yeah, I mean, it's probably, I'll probably summarize it. It's not like a sprint. It's like a marathon journey that someone actually undergoes through, and it's definitely not easy. But once you reach the end of, I mean, probably once you reach the finish line, you'll feel like, hey, this is something huge that I've done towards the end of it. I mean, I hope I was able to summarize. I mean, definitely it's not at least a 5-10 minute answer. This is not something that can be summarized in 30 seconds, but yeah, this is what I do the best I can do.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered the best part of it. Maybe Shantanu, do you want to talk about the steps that's involved in the entire application, starting from GMAT?
Yeah, it's a long journey. It's a good long journey. A lot of people give up at the GMAT stage, Then there are a few who would say, okay, I'm going to fight back, right? And then you get desired score or you don't get desired score, that's another stage. Then after that, you either think that, screw the score, I'm just going to apply to the schools, or, you have another approach where, I'm going to probably apply to the school that I want to. I'm going to apply to schools where it's going to be rational, right? Sorry, rational is the wrong word, where I can get through. Like being ambitious, completely rational, guys. And we personally love ambitious people. I personally love ambitious people. That is stage, and then where, so these are all stages, every applicant is going through this. I mean, there are a few who skip the steps in between, but there are very few. And then let's say you get your score, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do blah, 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 and blah school. Is my profile right? Now then you start having those questions because you haven't thought about those questions, and then you kind of realize my EC is not that good, or my leadership experience is not good, or let's say if you want to apply to INSEAD, I don't have international exposure, right? So these are the major steps, guys. Doing application, is I think that is where when people come to us, I think you can do an application, an INSEAD application in 60 days. I would say 30 to 60 days, depending on how much time you can invest. In HEC Paris, it's a long application, right? It's an extremely long application. Even HEC Paris, I would say 30 to 60 days, that's the time. But the major headspace goes, before that, you decide that, I'm going to write. That it just eats a lot. So.
Got it. We can take the next question. This is about the essays, which is how important is the feasibility of your career goal in my career goal essay? For example, if I say that I want to get into top PE company in the US upon graduation, would it be considered as a red flag in the eye of the AdCom? Or should I set a more realistic goal by saying I will return to India to pursue PE career upon graduation? Maybe Shantanu or anyone, if you can take this one.
I mean, either do you want to go ahead, or I can go ahead?
Yeah, I can probably just tell one line because this is something which I was in a similar headspace before. Only say something that you truly and 100% believe that you can do. Don't model your application just because you feel the AdCom will actually give you brownie points for it, right? I mean, the way how AdComs figure out false positives from it is by your interview. Your interview invite. The corresponding interview phase that happens, right? So if you don't speak with conviction, or if you haven't well researched about what you really want to do after your MBA, right? So they're going to figure out that it's a mismatch between what's present in your essays and what's present in your interviews. So definitely always write something that you are 100% sure that you're going to do. When you do understand having 100% surety is something that's difficult, but at least that is something, write something that you believe that you can actually make it happen. Yeah.
Right. I think your goal, so what you're doing currently, your goal and your answer for why MBA, these three things need to match. And it could be anything. It could be anything. But if they don't match, then, then it just doesn't make sense, because we feel that B school is going to make us employable. But no, B school only takes people when they feel they're employable. For them to report how many people at 3 months after graduation got the job, 6 months after graduation got the job. This is what even you guys look at, in order to say that, I want to go to this business school. They can't mess that thing up, So they only want to know your plan. What is your plan? What are you going to do? And why do I believe you? So in why do I believe you, if you feel you can convince them that you will be able to get into PE company, then geography doesn't matter because geography is the biggest reason where people do MBA. And by the way, it's a stat. 93% of the Indians at INSEAD, they choose to stay outside of India. Only 7% come back. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the feasibility of your goals matter more than how flashy it is. And also what you're writing in your goals, you don't just have to follow it. I had a lot of friends who was actually sponsored, MBB sponsored, and by the time and then they were supposed to join back, right? They were paid even the monthly salary when they were doing MBA. It's not just their tuition fees that was being covered, and now they're like, I never knew I could become so many things, so now I have the option. And then a lot of them even break the bond, So all I'm trying to say is that at the moment, think about submitting a plan, and a plan which people are going to believe, right? Like today, if I say that I'll take people to Mars, right? You're going to believe it? No, right? But it's a wonderful plan. Like someone should do it. And Elon Musk is doing it, right? So all I'm trying to say is it's never what you're going to do. It is always what's your background, what you're saying you're going to do, and how school is going to help you. These three things together make your plan. Cheers.
Got it. Shantanu, I think, that was very insightful. We have the next question that is from Abhinaya. That is, if you're unsure of what industry might be the right fit for you, especially knowing if consulting, PEVC would be the right fit for you, should you still go for an MBA abroad? And then, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good question, definitely. So, just to hope I heard it correctly, the question was, I'm not sure about which industry do I want to pivot to. So, is it a good decision to do my MBA abroad, right? That's the question, right?
Yeah, if you are unsure of what industry might be the right fit for you.
Okay. So I think then if you're unsure of the industry you want to pivot to, then why do you want to do an MBA in the first place? When doing an MBA abroad or in India is probably out of question. Why do you want to do an MBA then? That's probably something that needs to be thought of, something that needs to be pondered even more. Because the reason why you're doing an MBA is because you are stuck, or you want to unlock something in your career, or you want to transition into a different career. So it's usually one of these three, or it could be a platitude of reasons. But if that why MBA is not yet clear, I mean, what's the point of even shifting or doing consulting or any of the exit opportunities out there, right? I hope I was able to rephrase the question.
I think there's this one more sentence. It's especially not knowing if consulting PEVC would be the right fit for you. So I think that pretty much answered the question. Yeah. Then we can take on the next question from Cheta. That is, which would you say has better exit opportunities, strategy consulting or management consulting, and which poses as a more lucrative role? Do you want to take this one? Or maybe you can take this one.
Yeah, I can actually take this one. What strategy consultant is a more lucrative role? I hope by exit opportunities you mean after that, if you want in any industry. Both, I would say both, because either you're an industry specialist or you're a functional specialist. And there was actually a time where there weren't enough product managers in the industry. So even now, there aren't enough product managers. Like none of the top BSchools, right, have an MBA, just like they have marketing and finance in their full-time MBA program, right? They don't have product management as, I mean, if they opened this here, probably I might not be knowing, but all I'm trying to say is that I don't see anything, right? So what happens over there? I mean, every company wants to hire a consultant, because they can break the problems into chunks, which is ingestible, right? And eventually in your exit strategy, you're going to take a pay cut. I have a very good friend from INSEAD who was in London, and we were actually not debating, but we were discussing this, what's the next step. You gotta take a pay cut. But the exit point, I mean, you can still, it's still an MBA, you can choose anything. Yeah, you can literally choose anything in industry, even a role, you can choose. Yeah, and then over to you.
No, I think definitely. I mean, there is no pro or con per se. It's more like whatever exit opportunity you feel that you can resonate it with more. And yeah, I think, Shantanu, you definitely summarized it well. I have no further points to add. I think, yeah.
Great, guys. I was just looking at the questions. You have a lot of questions. I'll try to take as many as I can. So there's this one question, which is, does strong academics, good GMAT score, good academics, say CA, CFA, actually compensate for less work experience? Just a couple of years after graduation, but with a clear career goal. Anyone, guys? Shantanu, maybe you can take this one.
right? Again, there's strong academics, good GMAT score, good academics, SC actually compensate for less work experience. Okay, just a couple of years after graduation, but with clear career goals. Yeah, it does. Totally does. I mean, in my study group, I had this girl, Sarah. She only had 3 years of experience. I had 5.5. I was Indian, 5.5. Tech. Sarah, 3 years, 770 GMAT, DCG, London already, Then there was another guy, Turkish. Again, I think my bad, I shouldn't name everyone. Turkish, PE, 7 years of experience. Then VC, Australian, probably 9 years of experience. Then FMCG, I think she had like 7-8 years of experience. So the reason I'm telling you this, guys, is it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. If you're clear, like I said, if you're clear, you have a damn good profile, you're in. Yeah, you're in. They're not going to wait for you to win an Olympic medal, right? That's when they're going to invite you for interview. No. And we've also had in my batch, there was a child prodigy, Armenian child prodigy. He was already a CEO of a company at 28. Yeah, not a startup, like a proper company, guys, hundreds of millions of revenue. Also had a guy who was a hedge fund manager. He had his own hedge fund, a small hedge fund, Swiss, pretty young guy. So if you have less of experience, but less also, I don't know what is the definition of less of it. So 1 year of experience and I want to get in, if you have enough clarity, then yeah, you probably are going to be again another child prodigy. But 3-4 is considered less for European BSchools. But I think if you can prove your case, it's perfectly fine.
Got it. Thanks, Shantanu. We have a next question. It's a bit long. Maybe you can also guys go through it on the chat box. It's from Spurti. That is, what's your take on executive MBA programs, assuming most candidates for flagship programs in top BSchools are between 24 and 32? And I'm a little past that. Can I still hope to have a good chance of getting in and finishing? Basically want to understand what's the trade-off in the future if you still think MBA in 30s is still worth it. Emil, do you want to take this one? I think CVP want to know.
Yeah, sure. I think the question is on what's your take on the executive MBA program, right? Let me actually break it down, right? So the thing is, right, just because you cross 30, right, that does not mean you're not a good fit for the MBA itself, right? Because I can quote stats from my class itself, right? I think probably 40% of the class is above 30 years old in an MBA, in an HEC MBA, the cohort that I'm going to join. So just because you're above 30, I mean, there is no age barrier or construct that you potentially are talking about. I mean, I just wanted to clarify on that bit. And basically want to understand what's the trade-off in the future if you think in MBA. When you say trade-off, do you mean in terms of monetary, or is it like, because definitely when you're doing an MBA, that's the time you're not earning per se, right? But you're actually gaining soft skills, hard skills for the potential employment that you'll have after your MBA, right? So definitely I feel like just because you're above 30, that's not a blocker. There's not a hard and fast rule that just because you're crossed 30, you can't apply or you shouldn't. Yeah.
Got it. We have the next question. It's a pretty light question. That is, what geographies in India can target for European MBAs? I'm guessing there can be line of intersections and Spain and Germany. And then do you want to take this one?
Actually, I guess there was a little distortion when you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I figured out you're saying can you hear me now, but there was still a distortion. Is it me or?
No, there is still some distortion, but I think I know what the question Sakshi is referring to. I can probably read out the question, Shantanu. The question is, what geographies Indians can target post-European MBAs? I'm guessing there will be language restrictions in France, Spain, and Germany.
I also spotted the question now. Yeah, thank you, Indranil. The entire Europe. That's how I would say. But yeah, like there are a few countries there, like we are not gonna speak English. That's where you can't work, right? Then like France, they are not gonna speak English, guys. Probably at INSEAD, there was a pub street. That was, I personally think, it was not me. It was my French flatmate telling me that this is the most English-speaking French street I've ever seen. So even let's say there was a problem in my phone. I had to dial up. They were speaking in French. I don't understand what to say. All I'm trying to say is that France would be difficult, right? Spain still there if you compare, places, but Germany, like Berlin, even Hamburg, Frankfurt, and Munich, right? you can work. And Berlin is like everyone speaks English over there. Yeah, but there's one geography you forgot where in EU, specifically in EU, that's where people speak English the most, is Netherlands, Amsterdam, Rotterdam. These two places, like 93% of the people they speak English, because I live there for part of the year. And I've met a lot of NCRs over there. There's no issue. Other places, if you're really thinking forward to, even Oslo, Copenhagen, like Nordics, they speak English. But in general, people end up working in London, that's where majority of the placements happen. Even HEC Paris, that's where, is going to go there, going to work over there. London, a bunch of companies, right? They're going to recruit you. So yeah, language indeed is a barrier. For example, Italy, right? Italy, like I haven't seen anyone working in Italy just speaking English, apart from, when I say I haven't, it's an extreme case, apart from one. So it's very difficult to find. But there are a bunch of places, a bunch of cities in Europe. Don't worry. Just don't worry. And I don't rule out Netherlands.
Surely there one, Shantanu. We have the next question. Thank you so much for the answer. We have the next question. I think a lot of people are asking for this. That is a 35-year-old a misfit for a regular MBA program at INSEAD and starting off at McKinsey Consulting as an associate at 36? I hope you guys were able to hear me.
Yeah. Now it's wonderful. I had friends. She was also like 35, 36, Indian, then also Greek. She was also like, I think 36. She was 36. Yeah. But I personally feel, you can be consultant. It's totally fine. But there are other roles as well for you. If you have so much of experience, then why would you just want to become that 29-year-old? Why are you competing with 29 and 30-year-old? Right? You compete with there's another section, at BSchools where people actually have high years of experience. And this is where there are companies who are probably going to hire you because of your experience. They're going to pay you more as well, so fight for that. And don't say in your application, I'm a management consultant. If you guys could, how many are you over here? They say 55, right? 5 is going to be just us, right? Probably more than that, right? So out of all of you, right, I'm pretty sure that more than 30 people would want to be management consultants or strategy consultants. This is what everyone wants to be, right? Just tell a different story, right? Like I said, it's a marketplace, right? They can't fill in the entire batch with everyone is management consultant, right? Tell a different story. Once you are in, do what you want to do.
Got it. Okay, Shantanu, we have a next question from Sean. That is, I have a master's in liberal arts, founded a startup and worked at a company for a year since my postgrad did not had any maths. So should I go for the GMAT to show my accountability? Indra, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Let me just reread the question once again. I have a master's in liberal arts, founded a startup. Okay, since my postgrad did not have any math, so should I go for a GMAT to show my accountability? Long story short, yes. But there are schools which don't require the GMAT. You can get GMAT waivers, but I'd still recommend, going for the GMAT. That is one of those standardized tests, either GMAT or the GRE, which can showcase your quant ability, because in your MBA you will be having quant heavy courses as well. Shantanu can attest to the fact that there will be quant heavy courses out there, and the schools also want to understand that you will be able to shoulder through the course load. So one way of actually proving that is via the standardized test. So yeah,
I think Indra, you have answered that well. We have the next question from Tarun. That is, does good GMAT score and upwards of 5+ work experience? Upwards of 5+ work experience in building startups compensate to mediocre academics specifically? How much does 10th and 12th grades matter while applying? Maybe Shantanu, you can take this one.
This is something that I personally take care of all the applicants at MBA and beyond. In the process, there's a step where I also come in and then review your narrative. Your 10, 12 grades matter? No, they don't. But if I include them for a beautiful story, then I will, right? That's how it is, right? Now, there's a good GMAT score and upward. See, that ship, first of all, your undergrad, that ship sailed years ago, right? You can't do anything. The only thing that's in your control at the moment is your test score, right? And that's why we write like wonderful optional essay where we say, okay, my undergrad score is not the correct representation of my ability. So we have like a sample, a recipe, I would say, then a sample for that, which is in case. I mean, I'm a living example, guys. I don't want to reveal my undergrad score over here, but yeah, I'm a living example, right? So yeah, it matters not matter. It's just about how you want to tell the story, which and how you're going to use things that you have, because the only source of information to a B school is actually you, right? And your referees. That's it, right? So how you present yourself, how, again, class is half empty, class is half full, what's the tone, everything matters. But just to conclude, yes, it can be compensated.
Great. Thanks, Chandra. You summed up pretty well. We can take the last question for the night, that is from Rishabh. Should we look at Rotterdam RSM as a possible MBA option, considering English-speaking markets in Netherlands? Chandra, you can take this one.
It's a wonderful school, but they're more towards sustainability. If you don't have it in your profile, then it's going to be difficult, guys. I personally helped applicants get into RSM, but all of them, had like, ESG, right? Working in the ESG, or probably working in the direction of, UN SDGs. Yeah, and if you don't have it, then there's enough. I mean, don't run after it. Probably, yeah, other B schools as well. There's business school like Copenhagen Business School. It's a wonderful business school, underrated business school. Apply for those. And if you have impact, if your profile is towards sustainability, then you should definitely apply to that school. That is an amazing school. If you don't, just don't fret on it. And the other schools.
Great. Thanks for the answer, Shantanu. So that kind of concludes the session, guys. We are done for the day. Thank you so much, Shantanu. Thank you so much, Indranil, for joining in. I am pretty sure the participants found it pretty insightful, and they can kickstart their journey for their MBAs this year or next year. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I hope you guys were able to understand the process, and we were able to answer the questions. So thank you so much for joining in, taking out your time. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Take care.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining. Just wish luck. Wish luck to all of you. Cheers.